the whole point of it. But regardless, we're going to be kicking off another draft in just a second here, guys. Gankstars and Team Solo Mid. Gankstars on side A. Do you think side – actually, this is sort of a broader question that I have for you. Do you think side A or side B is stronger a position to be in right now?
I personally, as a drafter, prefer the B side right now.
I actually prefer the A side at the moment, which I think kind of speaks to the fact that it's personal preference, which is a good sign. If you feel the advantages are just purely down to personal preference, that's a good sign for the balance. Obviously, I assume you like to have that pick, ban, pick sequence.
Yeah, and then also the last pick.
And for me, I really like having the opportunity to have that first pick and then the double pick while knowing two of your opponent's picks already. I feel like those are particularly strong.
All right, well, we have got some picks now. Gankstars banning away Ringo, TSM answer with the Adagio. Then we see the Vox and Lyra locked in.
So TSM earlier, when they played the Lyra in lane, it was in response to a weapon box. Just throw that out there.
Yeah. Maybe Gankstars playing right into the hands of Team Solo Mid. But at the same time, Gankstars, they have to know the Lyra's left open. They don't take it. You have to assume Team Solo Mid's going to pick it up. So Gankstars, you got to figure they've got something in mind to deal with this Lyra.
Yeah, it's tough. Also, you think about like what Iraqi really wants to play. He was doing well on the Adagio. If they don't take the Vox, you know, like what is he really left with of his core picks?
Well, I mean, just because he hasn't played them yet this season, we obviously know Iraqi does play quite a few heroes in lane, and does also like that Ringo, but they banned that one away.
Yeah.
But we haven't really seen too much of Iraqi on like the Baron or the Gwen. But I feel like Gwen would be another pick that's right up Iraqi's alley.
We've definitely seen him on the Baron. I saw some Twitter pictures of people photoshopping his face onto it yesterday because he had a pretty strong performance. Team Solo Mid, they're going to be banning away a Lance right now. Gankstars has a chance to answer. So many things pair well with a Lyra that it's hard to just choose based on that. I think you got to choose about your composition.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I think they ran a weapon glaive with the lane Lyra last time because it was one of the few weapon glaives that we saw.
Yeah, I think you might be right. We didn't see very many of them, that's for sure.
So, I don't know. I mean, glaive could be a decent ban for them here.
Glaive's just a decent ban most
I mean,
of
it's
the time.
a decent ban in general, but you know, it's a particularly decent ban.
That is kind of one anecdotal ban you can make if you want to think of it that way, right? Like you have one piece of information on what they like to pair with Lyra, so you remove that one thing. I don't know if that's a broad enough strategy for this early in the draft for Gankstars. I feel like that is kind of assuming that Team Solo Mid don't have alternative options.
Yeah, I mean, also, even if it was just the Lyra in the captain position, which it could definitely happen, the glaive would still have a massive impact. In the game. They have the Vox, and they could pull the Baron out on their team. Baron dumpsters the Vox. So they have a lot of options there.
Wow, Taka going to be the option that Gankstars decide to go for.
Von C did pull out the Taka yesterday. And kind of going back to that old school Von C pickup, but there's still plenty of options for him. We know Von C, it's literally impossible to ban him out of a draft because he can just jump onto pretty much any hero in the game and make it work, it feels like. So I'm hoping we see a Scarf at some point, just because I want to say we had every single hero picked this weekend.
There's a potential
no other
games
reason
left for that to happen. So we could still see it. It's possible.
I'm hoping we do. That's the only reason why, though. Not because I particularly think it's good or anything like that.
I find it interesting TSM burning so much time here.
Yeah, they're usually a team that's very quick, and they like to kind of lock in their picks, not really give their opponents too much time to think about. Of course, the bonus time sort of negates that strategy a little bit.
They'll wait until they know, and then they'll lock it in. Like when they were on A side, they waited a while and then insta-locked 2 picks on their second rotation. So I feel like they want to use the time to think, however. And what surprises me is they actually had all the time that Taka was being considered as well. So they've spent a tremendously long time on this one, but it's more that side of things that interest me, that they do go for the glaive in the end.
Yeah, it could have been that they were looking to go for that Taka, so when it got banned away, they kind of had to reboot their strategy a little, but pulling out the glaive here, like I said, very strong into Lyra. This was actually one of the combos when Lyra was first released that everyone was talking about, everyone was playing, was the glaive with the Lyra after burning people into a bright bulwark and just keeping them locked down forever.
It's really tough to deal with.
Well, Gankstars has a little bit of time to figure out how they want to deal with it with 20 seconds on the bonus.
I find it fun, and the two things that we talked about earlier that TSM doing well in the drafting was having these flex picks of the Lyra and the Glaive, but they've got them both here, and I don't know how that happened.
Do you think this is a failing of Gankstars' draft, or do you think they have some kind of plan? Like maybe this Fortress fits into that plan part of this.
It feels like a fail, but I'd like to be proven wrong.
I actually like the Fortress here. A lot of the teams, and I say a lot of teams, we've only seen it once or twice, but when they've played Fortress into Lyra, they're able to...
Oh, boy.
First time on stream for the Grumpjaw.
Grumpra!
I'm a little wary of it right now. Just with this composition.
Hey, let me run away with you in my belly. Oh no, Afterburn. I guess I don't go anywhere with you. Oh no, Arcane Passage?
Suddenly they're in the better position.
Wait, I want an Bright Bulwark. I don't know about this. I don't like the Grumpjaw.
Yeah.
As much as I like the Grumpjaw, I don't like the Grumpjaw though. Yeah.
I don't like the Grumpjaw with what they have either. I don't feel like it really. I mean, the Fortress can help it out a bit, but other than that, I don't feel like the Grumpjaw really brings a whole lot with the Fortress.
Fortress
and the
will
Vox.
negate some of the healing coming out of the Lyra, depending on how things play out here. So probably, we're guessing Glaive Roam, Lyra lane with the Kroll coming out of the jungle here.
It upsets me so much that we have Kroll and Grumpjaw in the same game, but not on the same team. That is so disappointing.
What I find really funny is that I'm just imagining FlashX behind the scenes like, oh my god, we just used 60 seconds of bonus time and they picked a Grumpjaw on their last pick. What do we do? Because I'm sure, I mean, he predicts a lot of stuff, but as you start adding these elements, as we get double band draft kicked off, it's hard to predict all the different outcomes, and I don't think that's one that anyone had at the top of their priority list.
Yeah.
But Kroll going to be their answer.
Yeah, I just want to say best of luck to Scoundrel and Jaws on this one. The first Grumpjaw game on stream of the season. It's a lot of excitement.
Good man thinking of the casters like that.
Well, that's where we come from, right? But, all right, let's make some predictions here, because Gankstars, I would have said before the Grumpjaw, I feel like, okay, maybe just from a team perspective, frankly, I think TSM is favored. Now with the pick, you got to ask yourself, do they know something we don't? Do they have this really crazy plan that they've been cooking up?
You hope that they do.
It's a possibility just because we haven't seen the Grumpjaw very much. I'll be the first to admit I'm not 100% sure just how much the Grumpjaw is capable of. I have not been impressed from the little bit of it I've seen up till now.
The biggest question to me is this double weapon. Right? And that could be really unique and very interesting. With the Fortress, I would be inclined to say.
Is it going to be weapon Grumpjaw?
What else would you...
Crystal.
Or it could be... I prefer Grumpjaw as a captain, actually, and then put a Crystal Fortress.
That could be interesting also. Grumpjaw, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, was off stream, but he did lose one game already, so we're going to have to see if he can bring that back as Gankstars try and make it work. We're ready for the finals between Gankstars and Team Solo Mid, passing it off to Scoundrel and Jaws.
Over on the blue side, Gankstars. Over on the red, TSM. My name is George, joined by Scoundrel. Finals are up. Thanks, guys, on the caster desk. And my goodness, what a finals it's going to be.
I feel like you needed to really go in on that intro.
Yeah, I know,
It had to be like proper WWE, like,
Gankstars.
over on the blue side, fighting for the Gankstars barrier, the homegrown organization. You know, something like that, you know.
I got you. I'll do it next time. It's all good.
I'm joking, buddy. Right,
okay.
So shall we start breaking this down?
Very quickly, yeah, go for it.
I actually quite like Grumpjaw in this situation. Now, I admit I'm with Tasty Bacon. I prefer Grumpjaw as a captain. I initially, when I did a guide for him, I initially thought he was best as CP because he was too easily kited as weapon power. I still think that stands. He's very easily kited as weapon power. But as a Glaive and Cruel, what are you trying to do? You're going all in, right? You're going all in to deal with this Vox. And do you know, you don't kite against someone who's trying to go in on you. You just go in on them when they're trying to go all in on you. So I think this is going to be okay for a weapon power Grumpjaw here. I think this is a perfectly viable situation for him to flourish in, because he doesn't need to do any chasing. He just has to kind of hit the people trying to kill the Vox. And weapon power Grumpjaw is super, super hard to deal with if he can get close to his target. And that's the if, right? The problem with Grumpjaw is that sometimes he can't get close to his target jaws. So I don't know. I think TSM could be slightly struggling if they want to go for their kind of dive the Iraqi Zoro Vox combo that they're looking for.
Oh man, like the combination of just being able to kind of get on top of Rakizoro, mixed with the disengage of the Lyra, is just going to be so important. That Blighted Bulwark is going to be the most important ability in this game, I think,
absolutely.
to kind of hit.
I think the one way that TSM can play these fights is if they do get a reposition on Iraqi Zoro, they don't actually kind of go all in. They just shove that Bright Bulwark down. You know, like they said, the age-old combination of Afterburn into Bright Bulwark kind of stopped Grumpjaw following up on that engage. And then they just use those weakness stacks to burst Iraqi Zoro down. But that's a big if, because, you know, you've got to lock Iraqi Zoro down first of all, and that could be the hard part.
Yeah, I think that's going to be quite hard to do because you'd have a fortress on your side. You've also got your own mobility to deal with, for them to deal with at least. And yeah, I think that's going to be the main thing they're going to need to do. But it's going to be fairly tough. And I think a lot of it relies on maybe Flash X just getting a really sick afterburn off and just seeing what they can go from there.
I completely agree. Wreck now on the wrong end of things. Flash X not going to pull the trigger, however. Has got double Dragon Blood contract, by the way, so. A bit more aggressive. Or rather,
we've
just,
actually
just
seen...
I get confused with the little stacks, sorry. He's got Dragon Blood contract, but it's got 2 stacks.
Oh, okay. There we go. Thank you. Thanks for clearing it out. Whoa, hang on a minute. Hang on. What's going on down here? Vonsi, what are you doing? You can't do this. Fortress, you're going to have to run away now. Xenotech is not doing too much damage in this early stage of the game, and Vonsi just kind of bringing it to them. Is he going to interrupt the recalls? We'll have to wait and see. Oh, Xenotech got out with the skin of his teeth. Vonsi just going crazy aggressive already, and into someone like a Grumpjaw and a Fortress. I didn't think he'd go hard and fast that early.
Well, actually, the funny thing is about the fact that Grumpjaw's he's only got one ability that can kind of get him in or away from the fray. So if Vonsi can get onto the Grumpjaw, even with Grumpjaw's B, which has got in my opinion, potentially the worst ability name in the world. I think it's like Hangry.
Hangry, yeah, that's the one.
It's like, yeah, it's even worse than some of Koshka's abilities names. I actually cringe every time I have to say that.
In Frenzy.
Even with Hangry, you're reducing his damage output so much that, you know, you're always going to win the one-on-one duels, and I think that's where Vonsi's going to look to exploit. Kind of wins that one-on-one against the Grumpjaw early on.
Oof. Flash X walked into 2 members of Gankstars then. Do you know the funny thing about that ability as well? You saying that. I was actually in the room when AJ recorded the voice lines for the Hero Spotlight. And him saying the Hangry line and then reading out the description of the ability over and over again did make me laugh a little bit. So, yeah, funnily enough, it's I think one of the funny abilities in the game for sure. Yummy Catnip Frenzy as well. It's just like, come on.
Hangry.
Hangry.
Like a mix between hungry and angry, but
yeah,
just makes me feel awful to say it out loud.
Oh boy.
Can I just refer to it as his B for the rest of the rest of the stream?
B ability. Nothing else. Nothing but B. Well, TSM. They are looking so hot right now. Let's not beat around the bush. They are looking incredibly good. But Gankstars, with that decisive series up against Rogue, I think this is actually, we mentioned it before about TSM C9 being kind of the Clash of the Titans. I actually think this best of 3 is kind of a Clash of Titans right now, just going on how strong they are.
Well, given the performances this weekend, Jaws, I completely agree. Whoa!
Hang on a minute. Xenotech has jumped on completely, shut down him early. He won't prove trouble later on. And Flash X says thank you very much. And Xenotech with that early death and that going on Flash X as well. Not the priority member, but still taking him down is going to be ever so easy for TSM now to try and get an advantage.
And Vonsi goes straight on the Crystal Sentry, smites it don and takes it away, and Rekt and Iraqi Zoro can do nothing about it. That was the boomerang from Hell's Heart, right back onto Xenotech's model, and locked him down, and Xenotech couldn't escape, couldn't get anywhere, just smited down, and Flash X picks up the kill. And again, this Best Chuck NA Lyra pick into Vox, they know exactly what they're doing when they pick this into the lane. It's got a range advantage on Vox, it makes it very hard for Vox to step up to farm, and you're already seeing a small 10 CS lead open up here for Best Chuck NA. Iraqi Zoro, look, he can't even step up to the wave because Best Chuck NA will just come up and slam a Principum Arcanum on him. He's being very defensive here.
He really is, and we have seen, obviously, Iraqi Zoro on this Vox just do so well, but now just kind of coming up against Best Chuck. Flash X, it's got a couple of members of Gankstars in that bush, buddy. You have to back off very quickly.
It's actually double weapon power. Wow, okay.
Oh, wow, it actually, yeah.
I thought potentially you could see a
interesting.
CP Vox, but we're actually going to see straight up double weapon power. Great single target burst, you know, but that's all they've got. They've just got single target burst, so I guess you deal with the first person in front of you, and then deal with the next, and then deal with the next. I think that's kind of exactly what Gankstars are going to want to employ here. Just deal with the Cruel, maybe deal with the Glaive, deal with the Lyra.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the target selection is going to have to be on point, right? Because the thing is with Lyra, and we've seen it over these last few games, she just is the best hero for getting out of sticky situations. You've got passive, passage even, and Blight Bulwark. It's just so frustrating to actually get on top of her. So, you know, picking your target is going to have to be so key. And I think that's where Xenotech is really going to have to shine through here, because on that Grumpjaw, he's going to have to pick his target for his ult very, very carefully, because it just seems, and I've spoken to a few players about it, that ult is just so busted in a 3v3 style game like this, because you're eliminating a third of the team. Yeah,
it's a really, really strong ultimate. I actually don't know whether Bright Bulwark blocks the ultimate. I've not seen that interaction yet, but I think Bright Bulwark blocks any gap closing abilities. Does Xenotech's ultimate count as a gap closing ability? I'm just not sure. I'm interested to see whether that interaction actually takes place, because then again, Best Check NA is the linchpin here for TSM. Every single member from Gankstars Sirius kind of sucks versus Bright Bulwark. Like, every single member, including Fortress. So if a Bright Bulwark is placed in the right place at the right time, you kind of shut down everything that Gankstars want to achieve when they're looking for an engage.
Just a big lot of denied. That's what that is. I mean, the thing is with that Blighted Bulwark as well, if it does block Xenotech's ult, like, is that the one true counter to that ability, really? Because you just instantly pop it down, whoop, pop, team stands in it, nothing matters at the end, and Xenotech will have to do just normal damage. Can't take anybody out of the fight, and that's half his kit gone already there as well.
I'd almost be tempted to say take Cruel out of the fight instead of even trying to go for the Lyra and potentially running that risk. Just if Cruel runs at you, just ult Cruel, stop those weakness stacks going up, get Iraqi Zoro to dive onto Best Check NA.
Whoa, hang on a minute. Vonsi just jumped straight in again. And Rekt is going to get snared up. He does activate Attack of the Pack. But Vonic, here he goes. This is what we wanted to see. Xenotech, nom. And Von C will end up falling. Rekt will pick up the kill with the help of Attack of the Pack. Iraqi Zoro not picking up too much there, but an assist. But Xenotech completely denying Von C in that fight.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't use it earlier, actually. He really waited for a very long time to use that ultimate. I've got to say, though, that's not the way that I think TSM want to play the fights. Because if they run in, if they're the ones to engage, that means the Gankstars don't even have to worry about Bright Bulwark. They can kite back, they can make sure that Grumpjaw is hitting his target, and he won't have a care in the world. So yeah, I think that's not exactly the way that I would play the team fights. Oh, nearly a steal, not quite.
That was so close. Immense gold payout goes over to Gankstars, and that will mean the gold lead is just kind of edging in their favor at the moment. However, look at that big pickup now from the Lyra. Best Chakane, he's got that broken myth, that 2 items right now. He's just going to be absolutely wailing damage down on Iraqi Zero.
Yeah, he really is. I gotta say, I think if TSM play the sort of the safe game and just use Cruel as maybe the appealing weakness stack, you know, so force Gankstars to make the move, then Cruel just start to apply weakness stacks to the closest person that's a threat to Best Chuck NA. That's the better way that they play this team fight potentially. But, you know, if they feel like they need to force the issue with the From Hell's Heart, that kind of plays into Gankstars. It means that Grumpjaw isn't going to get kited, which is one of Grumpjaw's major weaknesses right now. So I think that's the better way for TSM, or sort of the TSM to approach it. We'll have to see whether that plays out though. Grumpjaw, very happy just with the Serpent's Mask to then start going basically full defense. As obviously you get all that extra. Whoa!
Oh my god! Flash X dives in, he goes straight onto Iraqi Zoro, but that's not their main target. They're going to have to peel back here for the Lyra as Flash X is almost going to fall. The Fountain comes out, he's still surviving somehow. Rekt is just going to dive on in. He almost goes down in the process of that. Perfect kiting back from TSM. This is what we wanted to see from them. Straight back to their turret and into safety. They've really got to be careful because Xenotech, he has popped the ult, but Fortress as well. It's going to be very, very easy for them to jump on Flash X now and kill him. Very little defensive stats available for him. No Fountain, obviously, that was used in that fight there, but really perfect from TSM, what we wanted to see.
Yeah, but also great from Gankstars as well, because obviously, you know, they utilized that Grumpjaw. Oh, Iraqi Zoro.
Iraqi Zoro might be taking out. The last bit of the auto attack come through from Lyra. However, the kills are traded up. Flash X ends up falling. The passage is taken. And nom 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 nom. Xenotech is going to spit him out the opposite way. Does not want anything to do with Von C. And that was actually really good at kind of a mini disengage there.
Yeah, again, you know, take Von C out the fight means he can't smite, means he can't build weakness stacks, kind of makes that Cruel useless. Because the one impact that Cruel has is when he gets that movement speed bonus from coming out of the brush, and then obviously then being able to get those weakness stacks right at the start of the fight, making sure the damage output of one of the carries is very low. It's great if you just take him out straight away, let those weakness stacks drop, which is the important thing, because those weakness stacks will drop. He won't be able to get a good smite, and he has to start from ground one with having no movement speed bonus, and having to, you know, work from scratch after just being spit out by Grumpjaw.
Yeah, I think just the main catalyst to that really was what could be Xenotech. The ultimate cooldown is just mind-boggling to me because he's already got it off again. So the next fight may be happening in the next 2 to 3 minutes, or let's say, he's going to have his ult every single time, and like it's on a 45 to 50 second cooldown, I think. So, yeah, Xenotech's just going to be able to pop off.
I think it's a 50-second cooldown at second rank, and it gets to 40 seconds if you overdrive it. But
Man.
yeah, it's still a very
That's
low cooldown.
Crazy. Yeah, a big extended fight there could easily activate it twice if you get a little bit of cooldown in your kit as well. Flash X just he's flaring out, making sure no one's there.
And with this Serpent's Mask, you almost become a semi-captain after going. I mean, actually, it looks like Xenotech might be building a Bonesaw, which is awesome because I haven't seen a Bonesaw in a very long time.
Oh, Arakizora is going to get jumped on yet again, just in the mugs of TSM. They destroy him. However, Von C is going to get eaten by Xenotech. Flash X still following up. They're under turret now. They're going to have to be careful. Afterburn in, they're going to knock the Fortress back, but Best Chuck NA, he just can't get the damage down. Flash X, so low HP, he's going to have to get out of there. That turret does a lot of damage at this time. Von C decides he's got other matters, though. He's going to go for that turret. The smite comes through. It's a lot of damage. But still, Gankstars holding off TSM. But Flash X actually decides he wants some of this. Von C's going to go in as well. Turret is going to get destroyed. Xenotech's going to get destroyed as well. Impressive stuff coming out from Chuck NA. 3-0 on this laning carry Lyra.
Yeah, Best Chuck NA, we've seen him play time and time again. And looks like he's making great use of it once more. Kind of untouched, but we expected that. There isn't really many ways for Gankstars to actually get to that back line to deal with Best Chuck. Gotta say though, Arakizora, I think, disrespecting the fact that no matter what stage in the game, a glaive and a brush is always going to be an issue. He kind of oversteps his mark there. No vision as well from Gankstars, meaning that was a very easy pickup for TSM. Again, if Arakizora gets repositioned, they don't even need to think about the Grumpjaw. They just go all in on Von C. Sorry, they go all in on Arakizora, and then Xenotech kind of just can't do anything, because this is the problem with Weapon Power Grumpjaw. He can't chase, can't teamfight very well again.
Oh man, speaking about chasing, they just jump on Arakizora. This is the problem you were talking about. He just goes down instantly. Von C is going to be able to pick up that kill. And that's going to be it. The Crystal Sentry is going to go down as well. Only one life remaining off that. And you said it, and then it happened, Scoundrel. They jump on Arakizora, and that was the end of him, and that was the end of the team fight from Gankstars.
That is the way you win a team fight against Gankstars, though. You take out Arakizora, you win the team fight. Because honestly, it's so easy to deal with the Grumpjaw, especially when you've got a Lyra on board. Any kind of slow, Grumpjaw cannot do anything. The only gap closing ability he has is his A. Other than that, he's got his ultimate, which is fairly low and short, sort of very short range. But realistically, he's only got his A. He hasn't got any movement speed bonus apart from boots. He hasn't got anything built into his kit that gives him mobility, when basic attacking or whatever. Just his A. So, you can kite him for days. As long as you deal with the Arakizora, who can kite very well with Sonic Zoom, you're absolutely laughing. And I think realistically, Arakizora should have hit his reflex block there. The major issue was that Arakizora's reflex block was late. So he got hit by From Hell's Heart, the stun landed, and that meant he was dead. Needs to not get hit by that, needs to use his reflex block more effectively next time.
Yeah, he just got insta-deleted, and, well, Attack of the Pack is going to get popped just to kind of dissuade TSM. They're not going to follow that up. Those tiny little wolves disappear into the abyss. That turret is going down very, very quickly. He gets destroyed. The Kraken just marching on through. Look at his HP bar as well, Scoundrel. Only half left. I mean, are they going to be able to get this turret? It just seems like Gankstars, they've got no real answer to this push here. Arakizora just can't get near any of TSM to do any damage whatsoever.
The problem is that Gankstars can't engage, because if they engage, that's the kind of team fight that TSM wants, because then Vainglory doesn't have to travel any distance. They can kite Xenotech very easily, and Iraqi Zoro is the one having to chase them down, of which they can turn it around immediately with an afterburn. So if Gankstars want to win, they have to let TSM engage onto them, and then somehow keep Grumpjaw in a position where he's actually dealing damage. The way it's working for TSM right now is that Gankstars can't engage because that's not the fight they want. So TSM are just happy to do whatever they want with the map, and if they can catch out Iraqi Zoro at a good opportunity, they will, and they'll win a team fight that way. You can notice the only way they've fought, the only way they've taken on Gankstars in the 3 versus 3 is when they've got a surefire attempt catch on Iraqi Zoro.
Well, speaking of a catch, will they find anything here? Flash X, you can see him. He wants to go for it. He's got the blood in his eyes. He goes straight onto Rekt. Attack of the Pack is going to get popped. They're all going to get slowed down. They are going to be able to escape, though. That Blighted Bulwark, look how much work it is doing, Scoundrel. This is ridiculous. Xenotech just did not stand a chance. Iraqi Zoro in the backline. The passage comes through. He ends up falling as well. And that will be it. I think Rekt is going to get chased down by the rest of the squad at TSM. And these guys are just looking on fire right now. Yeah,
I love the way they played that as well, Jaws.
Oh my goodness.
Flash X with the afterburn that got reflex blocked, immediately followed up by Best Chuck NA with the arcane passage straight onto the backline to deal with Iraqi Zoro. I think Xenotech kind of struggled in that fight. Again, couldn't do anything, was getting kited for days, couldn't even land his ultimate onto a target that he wanted. Didn't really have the impact I think he would have wanted in that fight. And again, this is the problem with Weapon Power Grumpjaw. Unless you have someone to help you reach your target, like an Arden, or someone that can keep your target still, you never actually get into a position where you can deal any damage. You kind of just sat there like, I've used my A, and now they're all running away from me, and I've got nothing to chase them with. And A is a really clunky ability as well. The animation time for the ability is so long, which is why I think actually CP Grumpjaw is slightly better, because even if you, as long as you hit your A, you actually do damage, and you get one basic attack in with an aftershock, and it actually hurts. With the weapon power build, it's not so effective.
Oh man, the weapon power, we'll see if it affects this fight. Iraqi Zoro actually in the back line now. Will he be able to do anything? Obviously, Flash X did afterburn in there. They've got their sights set on him. Vainglory is trying to do something. Another afterburn stuns him up, but Vainglory actually falls this time. Passage comes through. Blighted Bulwark as well. He picks up 1 kill, and it's a 2-for-1 trade so far. And Best Chuck NA is looking ridiculous. Rekt is going to fall soon after as well. TSM, what is this team? They are absolutely handing it to Gankstars. I said this could be the 2 Titans clash, and it definitely is proving in TSM's favor.
Oh, Best Chuck NA just absolutely decimates Iraqi Zoro there. I mean, this guy, you talk about one of the best laners in North America. This guy is the best laner in North America. He is absolutely ridiculous. Time and time again, Best Chuck has proven that he is a dependable, solid teamfight player with, almost no weaknesses to his game. And again, this is one of his specialities, that lane Lyra just completely destroying Iraqi Zoro in that fight. And Xenotech again, you felt like he had little to no impact on this Grumpjaw. There were some fights where it looked like it made sense. There's some fights where he was getting the ultimate onto the crew. It felt like they actually had a decent way of approaching the team fights. But once it came down to it, once, Iraqi Zoro got caught out one too many times, the Grumpjaw was like a next to useless hero in this game.
Oh boy. I mean, I want to see more of Grumpjaw, that is for sure, because the hero is just so interesting, but yeah, maybe in kind of going into the wrong things. I mean, Lyra maybe considered a ban, but we'll have to wait and see if we do see more of him. And with that, that'll be it from us for the moment. We'll see you guys very soon. We're going to jump straight onto the Alice desk. AJ, take it away.
All right, well, Grumpjaw in his first streamed game of the 2017 spring season, not having the best performance. I have to admit,